how tuberculosis shaped the Victorian fashion. So that is what we are going to talk about today. So welcome to the channel, welcome back, and let's start. This deadly disease hit very hardly Mary Duplessis. She was basically a rising star in the French court when the tuberculosis hit her, and basically she died very early at the age of 23. In Britain, tuberculosis was kind of like fashioned, you know, it was romanticized because it would create this low waifish waist, and because the skin would become extremely pale, and that would be even more accentuated by the makeup. And so the makeup, the French imported makeup with rosy cheeks and red lips and this pale, extremely pale, basically white skin, and this body completely eroded by the consumption brought about tuberculosis, became sort of a model for fashionistas of that time. And that's how we ended up having this model, which, if you think about it, is still a model that somehow has its own repercussions nowadays. You know, the prototype of a model is very skinny, very pale, most of the times I would say, very much looking like that. This only lasted basically from 1780 to 1850, because at a certain point on the scene arrives Koch, Robert Koch. And we are actually in 1882, and Robert Koch starts saying, well guys, let's remove the long skirts. The skirts of women are way too long. And so what they do is they sweep all the germs and bring all the germs into the house, right? So the hemline of the skirts had to be reduced. And that was extremely influential because shoes before that time were completely covered by this long kind of like very puffed skirts. And from 1882, which we take as a symbol date more than a real date, skirts started to be reduced, right, so that they could not sweep the entire floor and bring germs into the house. That was the first point. The second point, extremely important, was the corset, right? So what you do with a corset, and what the French taught us to do with a corset, is shrink yourself in as much as you can to the point that you cannot properly breathe. And what Robert Koch, as a doctor, said was like, that compresses too much the lungs, so let's avoid to do that. And one of the main revolutions was for sure the introduction of elastic fabric. And so by having that, basically corsets were still, you know, in vogue, were still fashionable, and were still worn. However, they were not so tight as they used to be, right? With the sticks made of whale or whatever other exotic animal could be found. So, no corsets, or anyway breathable corsets where your lungs can actually breathe. But also Robert Koch revolutionized for sure also fashion for men, specifically the long beard. So the long beard was kind of like the nest for too many germs, and therefore we started to have clean shaved men. Now this is interesting. Clean shaved also because the very beginning of the 1900s is the period of time where you would actually buy and have available on the market most of all razors, right? And that all started with the revolution on the hydraulic system that revolutionized first the US and then part of Europe. I would say part, if not all Europe. And that is how tuberculosis changed forever fashion. Alright guys, let me know your thoughts and please comment below if you have questions or comments, and if you have enjoyed the video don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. We'll talk very soon. Bye!